We need to talk about Adolescence. It's Netflix's new #1 show, and it's absolutely blowing people away. It's a limited 4-episode series that begins with the arrest of a young boy, and from that moment, everything changes. What's hooking viewers the most is the way it's filmed. Each episode is shot in one single take, playing out in real time. The camera never cuts. If any actor messed up a line or movement, they had to restart the entire episode from the beginning. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what Adolescence is really about. Because a lot of people are missing the point, and many are getting it completely wrong. I'll also dive into the biggest questions that have been left unanswered, like, what does the ending actually mean? What happened to the characters after the credits rolled? And where is the knife? I'll even share some behind-the-scenes facts, like how many takes it took to get each episode right and which moments were actually improvised. We'll also get into the deeper themes and real-life issues behind this show and why it matters so much right now. If you're new here, I'm Mad Mo, a full-time content creator, and this is my channel where we talk about films, series, and storytelling. So make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. You can also find my socials, my gaming channel, and my podcast, where I literally read bedtime stories for free, all linked in the description below. Now let's get into it. Adolescence Explained. To understand what this series is really trying to say, we need to go back to the very beginning, literally, because each episode plays out in real time. The 4 episodes take place across 4 key points: 1 day, 3 days, 3 months, and 13 months after the initial crime. That means we're asked to fill in the emotional and narrative blanks ourselves, just 50 minutes at a time, with these characters in their most raw and exposed moments. Let me explain. Episode 1 opens with Detective Bascom getting a voice message from his son, asking to stay home from school. He ignores it, even laughs about it with his co-worker. But that detail? It's going to matter later. The real action begins when the police raid a house. It's not subtle. They bring in a whole convoy, armed and ready, kicking in the doors like they're dealing with a terrorist. And then they reach the bedroom, where they find a terrified 13-year-old boy. He's so scared he's wet himself. And yes, the show is making a point here. Would that many police really raid a house for a child? Probably not. But symbolically, it's powerful. It shows how dangerous the world inside that house truly is. I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder. From there, we follow Jamie's arrest in real time, into the car, through processing, into interviews. For an entire episode, we sit with this boy who insists he's done nothing wrong. He looks up at his father and cries, "Do you believe me?" His dad, "Of course I believe you." We watch as he's strip-searched, humiliated. We feel for him. We feel for the dad, too, powerless and broken, forced to just stand there as his child is treated like a criminal. We're told Jamie is scared of needles. He panics as they draw his blood. That moment will mean more later. Later, alone with his dad, Jamie whispers, "Did you do it?" Jamie replies, "No. Promise, promise." During the police interview, Jamie remains mostly silent. No comment after no comment, until they begin presenting him with evidence. His teacher's warnings, aggressive Instagram comments, his trainers. And then they show him a picture of a girl, Katie Leonard. "Do you know her? She comments on your posts, so you must be friends." Then comes the line, "Is she dead?" The detective responds, "We think you know that already." They show security footage, Jamie following Katie the night she died. Then finally the detectives play it, the footage of the attack. We see it, his dad sees it, and yet, just like his father, we, the audience, don't want to believe it. That's what makes this first episode so masterful. It makes us feel for Jamie. It creates so much sympathy that even when we see the truth, we hesitate, we doubt. And that's the point. This show is not about who did it. It's about why. The mystery is solved in the first episode, but the damage, the why, That's what we unpack across the next 3. Now you may have seen viewers asking, wait, did he really do it? Even after watching the whole series. And yes, he did. That's not the twist. That's the setup. The real story is how he got there, and what it says about all of us. At the end of episode 1, Jamie's dad begins to cry. Jamie just stares at him, confused. He doesn't understand why his father is in pain. That confusion, Jamie's inability to emotionally connect, is one of the central tragedies of the entire story. Episode 2 picks up 3 days later. Detective Bascom visits Jamie's school. It's also the school where his own son studies. Remember the voice message? This is why it matters. We meet Jamie's classmates, his friends, the ones he was with just before everything went wrong. We hear conflicting reactions. One kid says his dad's furious, another says his parents didn't even care. Bascom's own son is being bullied. He's pretending to be sick to avoid school. The school itself is chaos. The students curse, laugh, make jokes about the murder. No one respects the teachers or the police. It's a realistic portrayal of a system stretched to the breaking point. Jamie's favorite subject? History. But when we get to his history class, the teacher isn't even there, just a video on the screen. The system failed him. There's a fire alarm, evacuation, tension. And in the middle of it all, we see Ryan, Jamie's friend, nervous, defensive. When confronted again, he runs, but he's caught, and then confesses. He gave Jamie the knife. We learned that episode 2 took 14 takes to get right. One mistake? They started over. One actor yelled the wrong name in the final scene, and the whole episode had to be redone. The episode ends with Detective Bascom, shaken, going home. He tells his son, "I've got time. I want to spend it with you, because I love you." A small scene, a quiet gesture, but it says everything. A father choosing to show up, and that's the contrast with Eddie, Jamie's father. Episode 3 reveals just how much silence can destroy a bond. Episode 3, 3 months later, time has passed. Jamie is now in a secure youth detention center, and just like the earlier episodes, we stay with him in real time. For almost an hour, we're trapped inside this cold, clinical environment. This episode is quieter, slower, but also heavier. It doesn't rush. It lets the silence speak. Jamie barely talks. His face is blank, empty in a way that feels deeply wrong. And that's the point. We're watching what happens when a child is left alone with guilt and no tools to process it. He sees a therapist. She asks gentle questions. He stares, shrugs, avoids. She says, "You don't have to talk." And he doesn't. One of the most painful moments comes when his father, Eddie, visits. But the distance between them is unbearable. Eddie tries to talk, tries to show affection. He brings Jamie his favorite snacks, mentions a memory, but Jamie can't receive it. His body is tense. His words are cold. This is not a confrontation. This is worse. It's two people who no longer know how to reach each other. Eddie says, "I'll come back again." Jamie answers, "You don't have to." That line, it hits like a punch. It's not just a rejection, it's grief. The kind of grief that doesn't scream, it whispers, it gives up. And we realize something terrifying. Jamie isn't just being punished, he's disappearing. At one point, the therapist asks, "Do you think what you did makes you a monster?" He finally speaks, "I don't feel anything." That's the tragedy. Not just what he did, but what he became. Not evil, not sad, just numb. This episode is hard to watch, not because of what happens, but because of what doesn't. No one cries, no one yells, there's no breakdown, just the slow erosion of a boy who was never really seen in time. Episode 3, 3 months later. Time has passed. Jamie is now in a secure youth detention center. And just like the earlier episodes, we stay with him in real time. For almost an hour, we're trapped inside this cold, clinical environment. This episode is quieter, slower, but also heavier. It doesn't rush. It lets the silence speak. Jamie barely talks. His face is blank, empty in a way that feels deeply wrong. And that's the point. We're watching what happens when a child is left alone with guilt and no tools to process it. He sees a therapist. She asks gentle questions. He stares, shrugs, avoids. She says, "You don't have to talk," and he doesn't. One of the most painful moments comes when his father, Eddie, visits, but the distance between them is unbearable. Eddie tries to talk, tries to show affection. He brings Jamie his favorite snacks, mentions a memory, but Jamie can't receive it. His body is tense. His words are cold. This is not a confrontation. This is worse. It's two people who no longer know how to reach each other. Eddie says, "I'll come back again." Jamie answers, "You don't have to." That line, it hits like a punch. It's not just a rejection, it's grief. The kind of grief that doesn't scream, it whispers, it gives up. And we realize something terrifying. Jamie isn't just being punished, he's disappearing. At one point, the therapist asks, "Do you think what you did makes you a monster?" He finally speaks. "I don't feel anything." That's the tragedy. Not just what he did, but what he became. Not evil, not sad, just numb. This episode is hard to watch, not because of what happens, but because of what doesn't. No one cries, no one yells, there's no breakdown, just the slow erosion of a boy who was never really seen in time. Episode 4, 13 months later. The final episode. And it opens with something unexpected. A regular morning. Eddie, Jamie's dad, waking up, putting on a shirt, making toast. He looks older, tired in a way that can't be fixed with sleep. It's been over a year. And today, Jamie is coming home. This should be a moment of relief, a chance to heal. But it doesn't feel that way. There's no music, no joy, just dread. Because too much has changed. Jamie gets home. He looks different, taller, quieter. But it's not just physical, it's emotional. He's unreachable now. They try to talk. Eddie cooks his favorite meal. They sit at the same table. But the conversation is stiff. Every line is a minefield. Jamie says almost nothing. Eddie tries to talk about the past. Jamie corrects him, sharply, and then silence. You realize they're no longer father and son in the way they used to be. The bond has been broken, not by a single event, but by time, guilt, and everything they never said. And then comes the final scene. Eddie, trying to hold it together, asks Jamie, "What do you want to do today?" Jamie replies, "I just want to go for a walk." And he does, alone. The camera follows him from behind. No cuts, no music, just footsteps. And then fade to black. That's it. What it all means. There's no dramatic courtroom moment, no confession, no redemption arc. Adolescence doesn't give you resolution, because it's not about a case. It's about what's broken before the crime ever happens. The show isn't saying Jamie is innocent. He's not. It's saying he was invisible long before he was dangerous. A child who wasn't taught how to feel, who found meaning online, who mistook attention for connection. And by the time the adults noticed, it was already too late. And that's the real horror of this story. Symbolism and hidden messages. Throughout the show, symbols speak louder than words. The one-shot format, it's not a gimmick. It mirrors how life doesn't have edits. We don't get to cut away from our mistakes. We live them, moment by moment. The silence between Jamie and his dad, it's the cost of generational emotional repression. Men who never learned how to express pain, raising boys who don't know what to do with theirs. The missing knife, it's less about evidence, more about metaphor. You can remove the weapon, but the damage has already been done. Final words. Adolescence is not entertainment. It's not meant to make you feel good. It's meant to make you stop. to stop scrolling, to stop assuming, to stop believing that silence is the same as safety, because it's not. This series shows us a world where children fall through the cracks, not in dramatic explosions, but in slow, quiet collapses. It asks, are you watching closely? Are you listening to the quiet ones? Are you paying attention before it's too late? Because if not, this story could be anyone's.